On the morning of February 14th, 1929, Chicago was still reeling from the chaos of Prohibition, a time when the illegal alcohol trade thrived and gangsters ruled the streets. It was supposed to be a day of love and romance, Valentine's Day. But for Chicago, it would become a day forever associated with murder, betrayal, and power struggles in the criminal underworld. Hello, welcome to Left and Past, and back to another video. Today, I'm telling you all the story of the Valentine's Day murders of 1929. But before we get into this story, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe down below and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on another video. Also helps me a whole lot, so it's a win-win for the both of us. But with all that said, let's get into the story. At the heart of Chicago's gang violence were two men, Al Capone and George Bugs Moran. Al Capone, the powerful Italian-American gangster, was the undisputed king of the South Side. He controlled much of the city's illegal alcohol distribution, and his empire stretched across the nation. On the other side of the city, Moran led the North Side Irish Gang, a group that had been a thorn in Capone's side for years. Both men were ruthless, and their rivalry had escalated over time as they fought for control of Chicago's lucrative bootlegging operations. The violence between them had already led to numerous skirmishes, but Capone had had enough of Moran's competition. Moran, though clever and shrewd, had managed to slip through Capone's previous assassination attempts. Now Capone was determined to put an end to it once and for all. The plan was simple, but brutal. On that fateful morning, Moran's gang members gathered at a garage at 2122 North Clark Street, a building that was a known meeting place for the North Side Gang. They were expecting a routine meeting, maybe a discussion about operations, but little did they know they were walking right into a trap. At 10:30 a.m., four men, two of them dressed in police uniforms and the others in civilian clothes, arrived in a stolen police car. The gang members inside the garage had no reason to suspect anything was wrong. The men in uniforms presented themselves as law enforcement officers, and the gang members stood up ready to comply with what they thought would be a routine search, but as soon as they stood, the gunmen opened fire. The killers, wielding Tommy guns, gunned down the seven men inside the garage in a matter of seconds. The sound of rapid gunfire echoed down the street, and the bodies of the victims collapsed onto the cold concrete floor, riddled with bullets. The garage was drenched in blood, and the attack was so violent that even experienced detectives were shocked at the sheer brutality of it all. But what made the massacre even more chilling was that Moran, the intended target, was not among the dead. He had arrived at the garage just moments earlier, but had left when he saw a car parked nearby that seemed out of place. It was an uncanny stroke of luck, or perhaps fate, that saved him from being one of the victims. And despite the killer's gruesome planning and the gruesome execution, the crime scene was far from perfect. Witnesses had seen the men in police uniforms and the stolen police car, and the authorities quickly pointed to Capone's gang as the prime suspects, though no direct evidence ever surfaced to link him to the massacre. Many believe that Capone had orchestrated the attack using his power and influence to eliminate his rival once and for all. The investigation into the massacre was intense, but it led to dead ends. No one was arrested and the killers were never identified. The brutality of the massacre shocked the public, but it also showed just how far Capone and his men were willing to go to maintain their hold on power. The message was clear. Capone wasn't just the most powerful man in Chicago. He was untouchable. In the aftermath, rumors swirled about the identities of the killers. Some said they were Capone's trusted henchmen, including the notorious Jack Machine Gun McGurn. And others believed they were corrupt police officers on Capone's payroll, a reminder of the deep corruption that ran through the city's law enforcement at the time. But no matter the theories, one thing was undeniable. The massacre marked the end of the North Side Irish Gang and solidified Capone's dominance over Chicago. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre was more than just a bloody gangland killing. It was a turning point in the history of organized crime in America. It served as a chilling reminder of the lawlessness that defined Prohibition-era Chicago, where gangsters ruled the streets and murder was just another tool to maintain control. The event would be one of the final bloodbaths in a decade-long struggle between powerful criminals, and it would eventually lead to the increased efforts by the government to crack down on the mafia. But even with the public outrage and the widespread investigation, Capone's criminal empire remained largely untouched. He would eventually be arrested and convicted of tax evasion in 1931, but the massacre remained an unsolved mystery. Its true perpetrators were never fully brought to justice. In many ways, it marked the beginning of the end for the gangster era in Chicago. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre is a haunting part of Chicago's history, a reminder of a time when the city was ruled by crime, and the brutal world of organized gangs were only a few steps away from the streets where ordinary citizens walked. And the massacre may have happened nearly a century ago, but the story of that fateful day still echoes through the corridors of history, reminding us of the depths to which men would go to maintain power, and the innocent lives caught in crossfire. And that is the story of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929. But that's me all for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. Also, subscribe down below and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on another video. Also, it helps me a whole lot, so it's a win-win for the both of us. But I hope y'all did enjoy the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929 story, because I definitely enjoyed telling it for you guys. But with all that said, I hope y'all have a great day. But this story is left in the past.